You're listening to One Bright Star's Life After Loss, a podcast that's focused on the lifelong journey of life after loss, with your hosts Erica Fisher and Alicia Moore. One Bright Star's Life After Loss podcast is sponsored by the law firm of Burkholz and Associates. And now, One Bright Star's Life After Loss podcast.
Hello and welcome to One Bright Star's Life After Loss podcast. I'm Erica Fisher, Executive Director for One Bright Star.
And Alicia Moore, President of One Bright Star.
And today we have our good friend and fellow board member, Julie Gruber, with us. Hello, Julie.
Hello.
Thank you for being here today. Julie and I and some other board members recently just attended an event, and we were asked to participate in this event by your daughter, Jenny, Day of the Dead. And I cannot say it how you're supposed to say it. Dia
de los Muertos.
Yes, thank you. I always mess it up, so thank you. So this was a really, really cool event. Julie, do you want to give some background on it?
Well, the merchants in Old Town in Mankato had different, in years past, it had trick-or-treating and, safe trick-or-treating the Saturday before.
Like trick-or-trunk kind of thing?
Yeah. And our daughter and her family own a business there, and our son-in-law is originally from Mexico, and they, in their parking lot, had a mini Dia de los Muertos, and a couple of years ago, last year, they didn't do anything because of COVID, but they got to talking with the other merchants about putting on a bigger celebration and having all the Old Town merchants get together and have a bigger effort to do this Day of the Dead celebration. And so the planning went on for probably about a year. And this is a huge, huge celebration in Mexico, and maybe some of the other Hispanic areas in Mexico and Central America, but mostly I think it's a Mexican thing. And it's a beautiful celebration because it falls upon the time of the religious holidays of All Saints and All Souls at the beginning of November. And on the Day of the Dead, the people welcome the people that they are mourning, that they have lost, the people that have died. They have a certain day in the beginning of November where they welcome them to make contact, and they have a huge celebration, and it looks almost, it's so colorful and all the strange
beautiful,
face
really.
painting and all that kind of stuff. But it's a beautiful celebration, and what it is for that one day they celebrate the life and how lucky they were to have the person in their life, I think. Now, I've just kind of learned some of this stuff since One Bright Star got invited to participate. And what they asked us to do was to build an ofrenda. An ofrenda is an offering altar, and it's an altar that you offer to the person that or people that you're remembering. You might have pictures of the people that you lost. You might have favorite items that they had, favorite food that they had, and the bright, bright decorations. And I learned that for children, it's the monarch butterfly has
right.
a big significance. And so I'm Googling and asking questions of people that know.
I had no idea what Day of the Dead was. And when I did look it up, Coco, the movie, the Disney movie, is it Disney?
Yes.
That came up, and I was like, oh, I totally know what this is. And then I researched more in it before I brought it to the board because I was clueless.
Well,
yeah.
I am so glad that the board embraced it the way they did and that we were able to participate. When we built our ofrenda, and I had no idea what we were doing, I just ordered a whole bunch of stuff and to put it on this altar. And I just felt so fortunate because there were other people building ofrendas in the area that we were that knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm. They were people that were
your granddaughters.
My great granddaughters, yes. Charlotte and Addie. Yep, they knew stuff. But there were people there that were helping me, as we were building. So, you got to do this and you got to do that. The people that couple of altars down, the people from Keda were there, and they knew what they were doing. The girl that was putting theirs together, I knew her from before, and she's from Mérida in the Yucatan, Mexico.
Okay.
And so
neat.
I kind of grabbed her and said, "Help!" And so all these people we were all helping each other, build things, and it was so neat because there was so much support there, and we had a few pictures of some of our One Bright Star families had provided pictures of their children, and I thought maybe we should open this up and let other people know
idea,
how welcome. And so Erica brings
sent me on a mission.
Yes, and she brought me some little colored papers and pens, and we just invited, just kind of left it open to people if you want to write a little message or leave a note or something to add to the ofrenda. Mm-hmm. Exactly. We probably had, probably 50, 75 people put with their names and little notes and messages there. And
it was beautiful.
I learned so much, and I learned so much from this wonderfully warm, inviting culture. And I think that all of us need to learn from the other cultures. I know the way our families have been, and how how limited our experiences have been, but to be able to reach out and be welcomed by these other cultures and make them feel welcome, that One Bright Star welcomes them when they need us also.
I feel like it really spreads our mission, our mission, and because we're being there for our community, and we're being compassionate, and I think it's so important to include different cultures, and because death doesn't have to be a taboo thing, and we need to learn how to honor and remember other cultures.
What's so interesting, Julie, is I really like how this Day of the Dead is a celebration. We are honoring, we are remembering. And I almost feel like when Erica just mentioned about our mission, and this speaks to our mission and what we do, we want to be a resource for families. We want to help them honor, remember their loved ones. And it's almost seemed, it was like perfect for us to be there.
Yes.
And I think it's just so awesome that people are out celebrating. We have a celebration of life, and that's kind of what we talk about. This was a celebration of life, of loved ones. They welcome them back, is what I'm understanding you're saying. Mm-hmm. And then I like how they have the little things on the table that is just like the unique thing about their loved one, like for the children, if it's their favorite food, or if they had a blanket or something. And those things can maybe be hard to put out. But we know that in today's society, we are trying to understand and embrace these loved ones that are gone and remember them. We don't ever want to forget them. And I know that you had mentioned before that you lost a sibling. So your mom lost a sibling. And you know this journey. Unfortunately, you've lost a grandson too. It's changed so much, hasn't it?
It has. My brother, who died the year before I was born, and growing up, we always knew that brother was missing, but we didn't. It's something that you had to get on with. My mother was in the hospital. She lost him at birth. She was still in the hospital because this was in the late 40s, and they kept people in bed forever after they had a child, I think. But the only person that was there at the cemetery was my father, and he was the only one that knew where this child was buried. And it's been within the last year or so that another brother and I went to the cemetery and
found.
We're looking for it, but there is no marker there. We know where we think it is, and we try to put something there where we guess that this is, and because we feel this need to have some kind of a marker to let people know that this baby is buried there. But we grew up with just that kind of was there somewhere, but not talked about.
Right.
You just moved on.
Right.
And so,
so your mom, she just moved.
She did. Although my mother died about a year and a half ago, and even in her later years, when once in a while when she would somehow get on that subject, she would cry because she had that loss.
You never
Yeah,
stopped
She
grieving.
never got, and she was never really allowed
to
Yes.
grieve.
to grieve the way we encourage people to now. And she didn't talk about him, and she didn't. I don't know. We just never did. And
Like, did he have a name?
no, not that
Okay.
I know of. My older brother said he thinks that he knows that they called him something, but because he was a little kid then, but I don't know. I don't think people did. You can go to the cemetery, in this section of the cemetery, and it will say Baby Jones, baby.
Okay. Sure.
They didn't have names. These
Okay.
stillborn children. They just
And look at where we are now.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then many years later, obviously, because I was a grandmother, I had a grandson who died, and he was almost 7 months old when he died. And we will never forget him. We'll never quit. His name is Eric, and we will never quit
Yes.
speaking of Eric. We will never quit loving Eric. We will never quit grieving Eric. I think that I just saw somebody talking this morning on a TV show, and they were talking about grief and saying that what grief is all the love that you have inside of you that you have no place to put now. And that's what grieving is.
Yeah.
And I thought that feels so true. That's so true about the way I feel about Eric, because I love this little kid so much. And he would be 22 years old now. And
That's
almost
bizarre
23.
to think about.
Yes.
Right.
Julie, yeah.
And,
Yes.
but he's this forever this sweet little baby that I used to sing Motown songs to.
Oh, that's
he would laugh
wonderful.
about it. He must have thought that.
And he is laughing, and he's like, that is my cool grandma down there, and I love
That's
her.
awesome.
So, but yes, Eric is alive in all of our hearts. He
Right.
will always be, but he is 7 months old.
Right.
not 22.
He's forever. Yep,
Yes.
he's forever 7
Yeah.
months old. And when I see that smile when you talk about him and
Yeah.
that twinkle in your eye, it's so precious. And what makes me sad is your mom never had a chance
Right.
to talk about her baby. And even if, he was born sleeping, or if he was only with her and your dad for a few hours, she still should be able to talk about him, acknowledge him, and then, and grieve him. And she never could.
Yeah.
And that's what I just think when we kind of bring it back around with Day of the Dead, they have it right. We need to celebrate, and we need to talk about our loved ones, and we need to remember them because we have so much love in our hearts for them.
Right.
Well, we have such an opportunity, I think, in Mankato, in this area now, because we're becoming more and more diversified. And there are so many cultures represented that have such rich traditions that
Yes.
we need to learn.
We need
All
to
of us
learn.
need to learn from each other.
Absolutely.
Yes. And as part of compassionate communities
Yep. Compassionate communities.
and the Nick Blue that you're involved with, Erica, we know that this area is really
It is
making amazing strides in
So amazing. All the things that our community is doing to come together to be one, grieve together, celebrate together, and just we have to come together. And that's
it's about community and supporting each other in the good times and the bad, and just being there, because that's how we are a compassionate community. It makes so much sense.
I mean,
and
it helps me understand, and understand is the wrong word, because I don't understand. I don't understand what it feels like to lose a child, because I have not. But it helps me be compassionate. It helps me be sympathetic and empathetic, to those people who have lost a child. And, my heart bursts for them. And if we didn't have our community that helps me learn, and all the resources that we have out there, I'd be clueless. I mean, and I'm not going to lie, sometimes I am.
But we learn from our families, because I am in the same boat as you, Erica, and I am so blessed to have been spared at this point. not losing a child, but I am trying to learn what is so important and how we can try to support people that have been down that journey or on that journey, and how important it is to remember, to share, and to talk about their loved ones. We learn so much from those who are grieving, and we need to acknowledge that. And
Excuse me.
And we need them to know that they're important and that their loved ones will never be forgotten.
And that's our mission.
That's what we're here.
That's exactly what it is.
That's why we're here. So,
And Julie,
Yes.
you've been with One Bright Star for on and off for quite a while.
Since it
Since
started.
1990.
22 years.
Yeah.
22 years, yes.
Since Eric died in
Yeah.
1999.
Yes. And it formed the memorial site
1998.
19...
No.
The memorial site, we built it. I'm trying to think now. We were building it in 2001. It was in the early 2000s. The first memorial service we had was not held there. It was held actually in the old chapel, the traditional chapel at Good Counsel. Is where we had the first memorial service, and that was in 2001.
Okay.
So then we had the next year. It wasn't ready yet to have, because we had it at another church in town, at Belgrade Methodist Church.
Okay.
And then the following year, in 2003, was the first year we were able to have the memorial service actually at our site.
At the site, okay.
And our memorial service is one of my favorite events because we all do come together, and it's so somber but yet touching at the same time.
It's a beautiful ceremony where we try to do what I believe you did the other day, but we do it in a little different manner, but we're celebrating, we're remembering those lives.
And the neatest thing about that is saying every child's name, because that is like music.
Yes.
To hear your child's name.
Absolutely.
Something that I learned from board members who have lost a child is to say their name.
Yes.
And I used to be afraid to ask, what was your daughter's name? And I stopped being afraid because I was told not to be afraid, that we want to hear their names. They need to be said. And now when I ask, well, what was your daughter's name? And the father will tell me her name was Belle. And
yes.
I just, seeing their face light up, or, to hear them say it and to talk about their lost child, they need that. They need that, and I need that, and we need to do it together.
Yes.
Yeah. And everybody needs to know, I think, that people are remembering, that everybody remember that your child was so important that he or she is remembered.
Is remembered, yes.
Yeah.
Never forgotten.
Yes, definitely.
Wow.
Thank you, Julie.
Yes, Julie.
Will
Will you come back?
Sure.
I know where you are.
Know where you live.
Thank you for all your service, Julie, because
Yes.
you have been on our board on and off, but you have been just a constant, and you bring so much history and compassion, and you're just a wonderful board member. And
Thank you.
We really, really appreciate you.
Yes.
So, and you're just an amazing grandma, and Eric is very lucky to have you.
He is.
Well, I'm lucky that he is there for me, because I
Yes.
talk to him often.
Good.
I
That's
love that.
wonderful.
I love
yes,
that.
that's great.
All right. Until next time, thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to One Bright Star's Life After Loss podcast. Life After Loss is a copyrighted production of One Bright Star. One Bright Star's Life After Loss podcast is sponsored by the law firm of Burkholtz and Associates. For more information on the lifelong journey after losing a loved one, please visit our website at onebrightstar.org.